Okay. I don't see the screen change on Facebook yet. Okay. Welcome everybody. This is Francine, the president of Greater Augusta Chamber of Commerce. I welcome to our event, which is doing business during COVID-19. What we wanted to do, or really after the request out of some of the commissioners actually, they wanted to hear from business owners and see how you have been navigating through COVID-19, how things have impacted you, how you have transitioned your business, and so forth. So we do have a list of questions I'll be going around the room to get things started. But first, we're going to start off with introductions. We are here at the Management House, which is one of our locally owned businesses. So I definitely want to thank you to Denise and Maruti for allowing us to use their establishment, which we usually do an event at least once a year at the Humanity House. So I'm going to start off with, to my right, to Ms. Knight. If you could please introduce yourself to everybody and let them know what your business is, kind of how long you've been in your industry, and then we'll just keep going on down around the room.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Smith McKnight.
No, we have two good nights. So we have one night and then midnight. So this is midnight, yes, no problem. Night. So we'll start right here.
Hi, my name is Yiet, and I have been, I'm an entrepreneur here in the Augusta CSRA area. I have been in the child care industry 22 years as of this past Tuesday of last week. So we are so grateful to be in the business for as long as we have been. At this moment, we have 5 locations. We have 4 locations that are active, and we have 1 location that will be coming active very soon within the next few months. And I am glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part. And once again, my name is Ms. Knight, and my centers are, one is Universal Child Care and Learning Center, and our new baby is Universal Learning Center.
Thank you. Mr. Clarke?
My name is Mike Price. I'm known operator of Transportation on Time. We're not an emergency medical transportation company here in Augusta. We provide people rides, Medicaid to and from their appointments, for the other facilities as well. I've been in business for about 3 years. I currently just purchased a new vehicle because I'm having a lot of issues with my husband, about to hire another employee, and looking to move forward to be on that.
Thank you. Mr. Vince?
My name is Vincent Willis. I'm the owner of Art Collective Tattoos on Washington Road currently. I've got a cyber background and used to work at Augusta Technical College, a webmaster out there. Right now, looking to expand the arts with the tattoo industry as leverage to turn it into an all art school encompassing all education department.
Thank you. Mr. Neely?
Fredrick Neely, Studio Neighborhood of Bar. We've been opening that location since March of 2018.
Thank you. Commissioner McKnight?
Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight, part of District 3. I look forward to serving you all. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jordan Johnson. I'm your District 1 Commissioner. District 1 is your downtown area, Lane Walker, East Augusta, Harrisburg, downtown, and parts of Sand Hills and South Augusta. So I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm looking forward to having a good dialogue with you all.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes, my name is Francine Scott, and I have a super district. I represent districts 1, 2, 4, and 5. Look forward to talking to each one of you tonight. And I do have a business card. You can just talk to me, or you can just talk to my nephew.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams?
My name is Dennis Williams. I'm the County Commissioner for District 2 in Augusta, Richmond County.
Thank you. Tara?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Stallings. I am a local business owner. I actually have 2 businesses. One, I've been a licensed master cosmetologist for 30 years now, and I own a hair salon for the last 27 years. And for the last 11 years, I've been a certified life coach or certified mental health coach. and I own Destiny Life Management Group, which is a counseling coaching office.
Thank you. Commissioner Clarke?
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Clarke. I'm Superintendent District Commissioner, which helps oversee 3, 6, 7, and 8. And it's awfully nice to be here. I try to get to as many gatherings as I can, and hopefully we can, as commissioners here, can learn something from y'all that can help us go forward with making Augusta a better place for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rolle?
Yes, Daryl, Rolle. I own corporate grooming services. We have 2 locations here in Augusta, as well as an online learning platform. And so I've been a business owner for the past 15 years. I've been in my industry for the past 25, and just here to add to the conversation.
Thank you. Mr. Beasley?
My name is Richard Beasley. I'm the CTO of Future 365, which is a social arts platform. It's a startup, and I'm also the co-owner of Trigger 2 Boutique. It's been in operation for 10 years.
Thank you. Commissioner Hassan?
Commissioner Ben Hassan, Commissioner for District 6.
Thank you. Stacy Roberts?
Hi, I'm Stacy Roberts. I am the owner of SMR Leadership Solutions. I work with organizations and their teams to cultivate healthy workspaces. I have a HR background, and I also teach in the Business College at Augusta University. I'm a lecturer over there. So I enjoy teaching, training, coaching, all those things. I'm a local business owner, and my business has been in operation since 2015, and I'm so looking forward to talking to all of you tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts?
Peace, family, once again. I welcome you again to Humanity Treehouse. I am co-founder, co-owner of Humanity Treehouse, also an artist of all the work, most of the art that you see here. And I'm interested to hear what everyone has to say.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins?
Good evening, I'm Christopher Mullins. I actually own 2 businesses, well, co-own 1 business and own another one. One is RC Holdings LLC, RC Holdings Group LLC, which we sell natural products right now. And my other one is the Freddie Mae Foundation, which is a local nonprofit. We help men who've been abused, battered, and addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for everybody introducing themselves. Now we're going to go right into the questions and kind of just really give this an open conversation. And I'll kind of call on the business owners so you can respond. And some of the questions we did get today, I'll remind you. So if some of the questions sound new, that's why. So I would like to hear from Mr. Rolle. What are 3 areas impacting your industry the most right now?
Well, 3 areas most impacted right now would be 1, access to capital. 2, access to more business education. And 3 would be support, like support, with businesses that have already been established.
Mr. Neely, can you answer the same question?
Uncertainty. Because the uncertainty of what's going to happen next has really been hard for us to make determinations on how to further invest, how to expand, how to grow the business, not knowing what's going to happen next week, next month. You don't want to get, I don't want to get too over-invested, not knowing if you might have to shut down for a while or have another reduction in revenue for a while. And outside of that, although we are in business, we are open, and we are generating revenue, the cost of running business has not adjusted to the new norm that we are going through. So although we can do things at a certain amount to a certain extent, the cost for us to operate is still the same cost as it was without the reduction. So those were that and the uncertainty, but it's all tied in together.
McKnight, can you answer the same question, please?
Well, some of ours is a little bit different than some of the other businesses. So I'm going to speak first for my program, and then I'm going to speak for child care. A lot of the children stay home because of parents fearing that they're going to receive COVID if they come into a child care setting. However, with ours, we didn't have that challenge. Our biggest challenge is the nurturing. Children are receiving lack of nurturing during this time, whereas they were so used to getting that nurturing and to be able to tell the child that you can't embrace them no more than one time, and keeping the children social distancing at 3 to 4 years old. So those are some challenges. Not being able to take them outside of the facility, being able to go to the park with them or different places like that, and then having them to be everything on virtual. So that's kind of hard. That's a challenge. And then, like I said, for the overall industry, some of the children did not come back to the program. And so you can't make parents bring children to the facility. The next question I'm going to ask is, what is the number one challenge you are facing as a small business owner during COVID-19? And I'm going to ask the first of Mr. Price. You can answer that question.
Well, one of the major challenges when COVID kicked off is that we was having, as you know, facilities were shutting down, the doctors' hospitals, they were not allowing people to come in there. So basically, we was going from 45, 50 trips down to like 12. You know, and with that being said, capital is key. And one of the biggest things in my industry when it comes to the play is insurance. Because, we have molestation, we have liability, which is $1 million coverage. And that was one of the things that really took a play, and that was, trying to keep employees without laying them off or for them to quit. So basically, we just really captured the main COVID, dealing with COVID.
Mr. Price, what's your business?
Non-emergency medical transportation.
Okay, Ms. Kara, can we hear that from you as well?
Well, one of the biggest things is with my business is to increase in anxiety from the isolation of just being home with pandemic and uncertainty. And I feel like clients now that have never dealt with anxiety, that their anxiety level is off the chart, out the roof, and even with children, because I work with children also, and just being home, being homeschooled, working virtually, and just not, the transition not being smooth, the workload, so anxiety alone, a lot of times brings on depression. With depression, I actually have a lot of clients that are smoking marijuana now, because that never smoke marijuana, because they are dealing with the anxiety from the isolation and the uncertainty from the pandemic. Okay. Stacy, can you answer the same question?
Sure, I can answer that. Can y'all hear me, or you need to use the mic? Go ahead. Okay, some of the issues that you said, the number one, I think the number one issue that I face, what I do as a business owner, as the owner of SMR Leadership Solutions, I go into companies and I train their organizational leaders and their teams on all things HR, conflict resolution, effective communication. So when the pandemic hit, I can't go into companies anymore. And so it was like my business hit a huge stop. So people like, you can do virtual. And I have been doing some virtual things. But I'll be honest, in my industry, as a certified trainer, in-person training, it's more, my virtual trainings are excellent, but people love that in-person training. And so when my clients don't feel safe with people coming in, or they have to follow these policies and procedures, it stops my revenue. And I'll be very transparent. My business, don't kill me, y'all. My business is based in Columbia County. And so, but I do business. I just don't fight me. But I do a lot of business in Augusta. I'm in the health behind Augusta State. Don't do that to me. But I do a lot of business in Augusta. So another big thing that I found out through this pandemic, because I live in Columbia County, I don't have access to the funds and grants that Augusta-Richland County does. So there's a grant program right now that I can't apply for because, and I found this out, that Columbia County or Evans, where I live, isn't considered a city. If you notice, we have a Mayor Hardy Davis, Girltown has a mayor, Harlem has a mayor, so their cities can get the CARES Act funds, but Columbia County won't. So I don't have access to those funds. So people are like, well, you can just apply for these things. I could apply for the federal, but the local, I don't have access to. So it hurt big time financially when my clients no longer don't feel safe. And so my business took a big hole. Also, I write children's books and I work with kids. I use my children's books to work with the little people to teach leadership skills. Now the schools don't feel comfortable inviting me in. So now my author visits got cut back. I've done a couple virtual, but doing an assembly versus a reading versus you can do it, but it's not the same.
Thank you. That kind of goes right into our next question. Have you had access to any of the CARES Act funds? If not, if no, why not? I'm actually going to let kind of all of these owners in the room answer that question. So if you could pass the mic to Mr. Beasley, so let me make sure you guys go.
So my answer is no. We have not applied for something. We're a startup, so we're trying to get everything off the ground. But for the PPP, we did apply for funding, and we did not receive it. So that's what we.
We had
We didn't hear you, Mr. Lee. Can you repeat that, please?
It's this whole fast. Sorry. All right. So what I was saying was we're a startup, so we didn't apply for any funding. But for a Curvature Boutique, we did apply for funding, but we did not receive it.
Which funding did you apply for?
I'll call my wife and let you know.
Okay. Mr. Rolle?
Yes, we applied for the PPP and we did get the PPP.
Did you were able to receive?
Yes.
Okay. Any other programs you applied for or no?
No, but I was a part of helping other businesses be able to get access to some of the CARES Act funds. So.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, you can answer that, please.
Yes, I was able to take the PPP and disaster relief loan for my business.
Was it traditional or non-traditional?
Non-traditional.
Which company?
I would take that.
Okay, Cadence Bank. Okay.
Mr. Neely has been able to get any access to COVID-19.
We were able to get the SBA disaster relief grant. We did not get we were able to get access to the SBA disaster relief fund, but weren't able to get any other funding. The PPP, they only calculations were done on the W-2 employees. Most of our employees were 1099 of the field. Therefore, what we were paying them not paying those costs wasn't able to calculate it in the funds that was received from PPP, so we wasn't able to get enough money to do anything for us. There's one of the city that has a requirement for the business to have insurance. The insurance, so we have a high liability insurance, right? And the cost of our insurance was in something like $55,000 a year, and it costs more for us to insure the business, something like the building. We sell alcohol, and then being a business that sells alcohol makes us ineligible
Yes.
So,
If we sold food, then classified as a restaurant opens us up to more things than just being a bar only, but we don't have to get on things. And that's the investments that we like to be able to put into, but, you know, to build out a kitchen, especially if we are in an older building, and do too much renovations, we're gonna bring the entire building up to code. It's just a whole lot of money to be able to get to that point, not knowing what's going to happen. So if everything's good, we've always our plan is until they're decided to have a kitchen and everything like that. And by 2020, it was almost like a lost year. We wasn't able to advance, we wasn't able to do any type of growth. It was just kind of just wading in the water, trying to stay afloat. That's what the year was. But we've done it. Other funding, we wasn't able to get a whole lot of.
And I wanted to just point out that he mentioned about 1099, and a lot of small businesses do pay their employees a 1099. So when any program comes out and it caps out the 1099, that is going to hurt a lot of small businesses.
So I established my first brick and mortar in February, so I did not apply for any of the SBA or fast food funds or PPP. However, I guess this is some words of encouragement to be the optimist that I am. I see that a lot of us in here are business owners kind of are looking down at our superpowers right now. Everyone in here paid plenty chicken dinner out of chicken nugget. You know what I mean? So I would like to just say, the access that we don't have at the moment, continue to remember we create that without having to have essentially somebody back. But just work with her outside.
I did receive the PPP loan as well as the disaster loan as well.
Who did you get it from?
Maybe so.
I just did.
We did receive the BPP loan and the disaster relief loan. And also with the child care industry, the Georgia Department of Early Care Learning had a CARES Act as well. And so they took a pump and distributed those funds to the child care centers as well.
This night, were you able to help anybody else get any funding that was in the daycare center industry?
Yes, ma'am. I did refer someone to the CARES Act through the city, the one that the city of Augusta had. And so she was the
Fredrick Foundation did receive the EIDL, it was a small amount. We did apply for some other grants through the city for the CARES Act and for some stuff through HCD. However, we were not applicable for that because of the fact that the standards for what HCD and the CARES Act through the city have been so ridiculous. For instance, nonprofits work a little bit differently. We're trying to rebuild a house that we have, that we got donated some property, and that was one of the stipulations of the CARES Act. You cannot build a new structure under the HCD requirements with that money. And also, with that CARES Act, that was that. With HCD applying through them, you had to have matching funds. So if I was asking for $200,000, which if I had $200,000, I would be asking y'all, you had to have matching funds. So that eliminated us right there because we're an organization that's only 3 years old. So a lot of the funding has been going to a lot of older and more established organizations rather than smaller businesses. She's gonna spray it real quick.
Spray with Lysol.
Everybody be safe.
So I'm going to give you the southern response, the more political, politically correct response. Father God, please cut down my tongue as I speak, but reading this shit. I was told to read this because my wife is probably up, somewhere in Augusta, cringing with me holding the microphone. So I asked her to write this down for me. Because what I want to say would be actually a little bit too heavy. So I'm going to say what it says here. Right on? All right. This is my wife speaking, not me. So respectfully, I'm going to respect my wife. Our in-person traffic, of course, was decreased. Therefore, we had to revamp and restructure in order to adapt to survive. We did not receive PPP or EIDL. And if you play Scrabble, you can switch these letters around with EIDL and you get the word live. Our regular customers have been constant and consistent from the diverse, she's being really nice, diverse population of the community. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, wife.
So I did apply, and I'm so thankful for the Greater Augusta Black Chamber because they put out so much information during this whole thing. And I wouldn't have known about a lot of things if it wasn't for called like Renita a few times, like, what is this? I'm like, I can apply for this. So but I will say, and I'll be I'm a very transparent person with you. With some of my large companies, I would charge $1,000 an hour. So when that was snatched from me, y'all can imagine what that was like. I received a $1,000 EIDL grant. That was it. So you gave me an hour, So.
And I was actually going to say, the Black Chamber actually helped the Freddie Mae Foundation receive the EIDL. If it wasn't for the Black Chamber, we wouldn't have received anything. And just for people to know, we use those resources to go back in the community. And we recently had somebody pass away that was frozen to death. So because we haven't received as many funds, we haven't been able to provide as many or as much as I wanted to as far as like resources to the homeless population. So that's been the whole setback with us too. But I apologize.
No, you're fine. But that's what I was going to say. So I got paid. So I went from charging large companies that, like I'm talking about federal government, John Deere, things like that, $1,000 an hour, to them not allowing me to come in, and then the grant gave me $1,000. And I'll be very transparent. I'm thankful for my position at AU because it hurt me all. It did. And God is just going to provide. But I think I'm so thankful for the chamber just being, do you know about this? Because I am used to people doing this with information. And you have to fight for it. And I'm just like, if this helps all of us, what does it hurt you to tell me about?
Preach.
So I'm just so thankful to Ronnie in the chamber because I wouldn't have known about it. And I'm grateful. It was just $1,000. It's $1,000 I wouldn't have had. So thank you.
I think we got a question on Facebook. Can you, right here on the screen so we can answer that question? And I don't know if that's really a question, maybe a question for the commissioner. It was from Natalie Bryant. Yeah.
What about mental health services? There's a high need for limited funds.
So the question is, what about mental health services is a high need for limited funds? Does any commissioner want to tackle that question for Natalie Bryant? I can't.
What is the question?
What about mental health services? There's a high need for limited funds, access to funds.
As far as I remember, that's a had problems with funding prior to the pandemic. So it's just one of those things that everything, money is short everywhere. There's a large cost for most of the things that we do right now. So mental health is just one of those issues. The courts have a mental health court and a variety of things to help address those individuals' particular needs. While we're perfect more than that.
Okay, so just in case you couldn't hear the commissioner, they were stating that that is mostly a state issue. Make sure you guys share the broadcast, everybody that's live on Facebook, and that, you know, that is something that they handle, but, you know, as a chamber, we continue to advocate for mental health issues, as we know, it has went up during the pandemic, especially this area. So I'm moving right on to the next question. As a business owner in our community, what are two main concerns you have for your local government? I'm going to start with Mr. Vince because he raised his hand.
Talk loud so we can hear you.
There we go. Just quick questions, right? Because we need to get to know our leadership. All the entrepreneurs here know how to be leaders that establish themselves somewhere in their industry. So for the commissioners, we know the people spoke for you, right? I'd like to know really quick, how do we plan leadership-wise to get the leaders in the community together to reallocate what's less being used to more appropriate places in the community? The more conversations we have, including here or in the streets or at the dinner table with family, a little bit of everybody across the board is getting hit big. So how can we, as the heads of the household, right, say, all right, here's what's not working, here's what is working. Who's having those conversations and where can we have them, when can we have them? Because that seems from the opportunity. You know, this being one of those, but more of a reoccurring conversation. You know, all right, tax dollars here, right? Grants here, funds here. These are the ones that are working. These aren't the ones that aren't working. Can we reallocate? Can we refund things that we know should be working, or project what our consensus move is?
You want to answer that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What things you like to see from your local government? As this teacher?
Well, this is part of one of the things that I would like to see more from the government. Taking that off what he's saying. The issues that have been a big snag on a lot of what we've been able to do in my business has been small technical issues in a paperwork, something asking for this or requiring this from 5 years ago or things like that, something that I don't no longer have access to that will restrict everything. And it's something small and it seems like it made sense or was in good faith, but that requirement, that one small requirement will cut us off from everything. It could cut us off from everything. There's no halfway, there's no, well, we can do this if you don't have that, or if you got this, we can do that. There's no wiggle room in a lot of the structures of these grants and things. And I know the grant writers make them very specific, but they're so specific that it cuts off more than it helps. And if it was just more of a back and forth, a reaction there. You get things, you plan things, you put things out, but once they're out, there should be some room to correct and change and adjust depending on how they will receive. If you can go and you can ask and say, we got this money for these people and nobody's applying, there's got to be a reason why they're not applying. There might be something that you're asking in the application process that's restricting these people from access to these funds that you need. And it's not really a place where you can go and ask the question, hey, this is what's going on, this is why I can't. It's more of a yes, no, you know, up, down type of thing. You either got it or don't. And everything is not, it's not a one quick fix for every business and every industry. Even though everything comes out, these are for small businesses. But there's hundreds of different types of small businesses. And it's really hard to try to go and distinguish how you are able to help these ones. Like a nonprofit doesn't have the same issues as a mortar building that has the same as a consulting firm or things like that. So it might be helpful for some, but not helpful for all.
Okay, can we give it to Mr. Price and then Mr. Mullins, because they both have a hand up.
I don't want to back up what these two gentlemen just said right here. That is so true. And one of the things, when we talk about what's going on in the world today and the small business that need help, I'll take an example of that last grant that you had. It was a $5,000 grant. It was a lot of paperwork. It was something I couldn't understand. So I went and let my lawyer look at it, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I said, "This is not really." It's like you're working with somebody who's going to get $300,000, $500,000. So basically, what I'm saying, we are hurt. We are in need. So why are we making this so difficult for us to get this what we need? Because we do need this. And as our leaders, y'all should make sure that we get it without the argument going back and forth. Hey, no. It should be just okay, even when we present a program. I know Chamber presented one, you gotta stop that down. Yeah. So what's the plan of attack? I just want to know.
Commissioners?
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna use one of my military words. Let me say caveat real quick. I'm gonna caveat off of Mr. Price and everybody else. Let's be frank. I'm just gonna, it's the elephant in the room. Augusta, by the 2010 census, is 57.2% African American, Black. The equity is not getting to us in small business, period. It's not. It's going to the same major companies, same major nonprofits over and over and over again. The standards is what's bothering me. We require so many things in Augusta, but again, like Mr. Price and everybody else said, what are we doing to correct that? Because again, once applying for some of the grants and some of the loans from HCD and other organizations, they require you to have so much just to get so little. So little. And even when you get it, it's a stipulation to that. And again, the equity is not getting down to us at all as Black business owners. And I can say that for myself because number one, I'm a Black male and I'm a veteran. And I still can't get anything. And that's the problem.
Commissioner Clarke, please.
Thank you. Number one, I'd like to say that I'm listening to each and every one of you. I really agree. I've been here several times and I look at the art on the wall and I'm absolutely fascinated with the gentleman's work. And he does it with his fingers. But yet, whenever we want to do an art project, it seems like we always go outside of the community, outside of the city, outside the state to get people to come in and do our stuff with us. That's part of the problem right now. That some of us have tried like hell to change it, and we're still trying to change it, is that I had rather for the commission to approve a bid that's 5 or 10% higher that will go to a local business person than to send our money out of town and out of state. It takes 6 votes on the Augusta Commission to get anything done. 6 votes. One commissioner by themselves cannot change anything. And that is the problem right now with our Augusta Commission. We do not use the talents of the individual commissioners that will bring the commission together. It always seems like a fight that's so bureaucratic that it gives you a headache. Now, I have said here, and I've listened to me why you can't get access to money. It's the bureaucracy. They will put you like a circus act through the hoops to prove anything. When you own a business, you prove you own a business, you prove you need the money, why in the world do you have to go out and hire a lawyer and pay a lawyer to help you get a $1,500 stipend? Why do you have to do that? If either one of you has an answer to that, y'all better know, because I ain't got an answer. It's BS at best. Now, I remember when the Black Chamber of Commerce came and we had a talk and we were trying to get something worked out about getting a little bit of the money to go to the business owners. And if I recall, the commission turned that down. Okay? You ought to go back and find out who turned that down.
Tell us.
Give you a long time.
Okay?
Can you tell us now?
Well, you know what? I wish I could, because I don't remember. I know that I think there was a couple of us who did vote, but what I would like to do is talk about bureaucrats.
That's what we here for.
You don't know because it's not published. You cannot go on the website of Augusta and look at our page and pull up an item and see how each commissioner voted on it. You can't do that. You gotta go through all of the stuff and read the minutes of the meeting if you remember what meeting that came from. So that's part of the problem that we have in Augusta, is that the commissioners that really want to do something to move everybody forward get stifled. And you're right. It seems like the money goes to the same businesses over and over and over. We have bought enough vehicles from out of town that we can start Detroit back up. Now that's the truth. So what you know, man, I can talk all night long on this. I'm sorry. But
Nobody else saying nothing. You good.
I'm passionate about this.
I am too.
And we have got some commissioners that are coming on now. Commissioner Dennis Williams, he's the smooth guy that tries to keep all of us calm. And he gets people to listen to him. Commissioner Dan Hassan is our money man. Now he will run up and he'll challenge Jesus if he thinks we get it. If the money's not right. Every commissioner has something that they bring to the table. But when you divide, you can't conquer. And that's what happens in the city of Augusta. I hate to tell y'all that. I hate to tell y'all that.
That doesn't sound like bureaucracy. That just sounds like a hustle.
It is a hustle.
So, okay, a couple more questions, and then we just have a special guest that's gonna kind of break up the conversation just a little bit. But this also responds to, what the chamber had presented. We have done our due diligence with meeting with HCD and the city administrator, and so forth. So we really haven't heard back, I guess, a definite answer, but that video of me going in front of the commission is on our YouTube channel and my GABC, so you can watch it and you can see how the vote went.
So this is just the, I'm so sorry. No, go ahead. Start. Whoever wants to go first. Okay, y'all both.
Well, what I see is, we are supposed to be a community. The commissioners, the city, the businesses, we are supposed to be a community. But what I see and what I have seen throughout the years is a lack of what community is. And because we don't know what community is, and we're not operating like a community, that's why we have all these issues, especially in the time of this pandemic. If we operate like a community is supposed to help run itself, not go outside itself to help run it. A community is essentially like a family. One helps the other. And we know that small businesses help make the big businesses run. So if we invest in the small, it'll make the larger one run, and it'll continue to do with the small one. But if the commissioners don't get on one accord and listen to the community, I keep saying community, that's the people, and the needs of the people, we're gonna keep running into the same problem because we're not operating the city of Augusta like a community. We're operating out of that old board system. And, testosterone and everybody wanna be right, and it's okay if you wanna be right, but it's not gonna help the community, and it's being detrimental to the community. We're gonna still keep running into this problem. We can meet. Meet is not gonna do anything unless we put some action to it.
And that's what I'm gonna co-sign with you on that, Sarah. I'm in total alignment with what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben.
No, go ahead, Stacy.
Yes, please go. You assistant, you go.
I'm all about what's the solution. So a lot of times, and this is just me and how I train, I don't like attacks because I think the defense goes up and people don't hear each other anymore. That's just how I believe. But I do understand that people are purposeful. I don't like to say passion because passion things. People are very purposeful, and especially when this is impacting your business. And so I will say, confession, I used to work for the Columbia County Chamber, and you are 100% right. The huge businesses are great, but the community would fail without the small businesses, so they can't be ignored. So I know that we're talking about an issue, and like as Chris said, it's the elephant in the room. I don't like debate. My thing is, how do we fix it? So what's the next step? What's the resolve? I'm not going to. I do believe there are some issues. I call it spade a spade. I do believe there are some issues in the commission. Like I said, I live in Columbia County. I probably don't want to hear what I have to say. But I believe there's some issues over there too. So please don't think I'm bashing. But I want to ask, okay, so we've already established there's an issue. We know there's something that needs to be done about it. So what's the next step and how can we work together to get there? What do you need from us and commissions? We can tell you what we need from you. But I honestly believe, in spite of what it looks like, I do believe that we all want each other to win. I hope no one enjoys watching businesses close their doors and not be able to open because of the pandemic. I honestly really hope that. I hope people don't enjoy watching families go hungry and have to go to food lines when they used to be able to go to the grocery. So my thing is, what's next?
Yes, I think Brother Baruch insists on me saying something. Good evening, everybody, once again. Let me kind of stand up if you don't mind. Well, I think most of us as commissioners feel your pain, so I'm going to try to stop and try to address this in 2 or 3 different ways if you don't mind. First and foremost, I keep hearing saying we're giving money to big business, to major corporations. That's not happening. The city is not giving away money year in, year out to large corporations. Now, what the city is doing, to your point that you're correct, probably every year through our budgetary process, some of those nonprofit stuff are habitually getting money. And those monies are being away from $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000. So that part of it is true in that regard. That is something that this commission can rectify next year going into the budget cycle. So that's probably a fact. Can't argue with that. The part also when you talk about, and nobody said this, but I want to kind of just put a pin in it. When you're talking about the CARES Act, obviously, if you notice to the federal government, even under President Trump's administration, you notice there was never any money for local governments. They never really got any money for local governments themselves. Even though Richmond County is about $10 million, but most of that money went back to paying law enforcement, things like that. We ended up with a certain amount of money that was left. And, we ended up giving Payne College about $1.4 million to stay afloat.
Why would you give $1 million to a place that's already, they're not even, they privatized, they have their own private and everything. Why would you give that?
Well, Payne College, you have to realize Payne College also contributes to the tax base of the city for the employees and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, it was not an easy choice. Historically, I have made a decision that when Payne came up, when you had to splashes and things of those initiatives, I voted against it. This time, with the simple mere fact for their existence. For their existence, they would have ceased to exist. And I think at that particular time, it's a little prudent thing. I do not regret it. I vote them again tomorrow. If you look at Payne College, you go to Payne College, go to 15th Street. Payne College's front there is second to none from a landscape position. And to allow a historical black college to go under, that's one of the few in the country that was started by black and whites alike, would be a disservice to the city. Would be a disservice. That's why I support it. I think, I can't speak with the rest of everybody else, but that's why I support it. I will support it again. Even though it's a private institution, they needed help. And as a result of that, they're backing. But let me get to that part. Let me get to that part too. So with that being said, they're backing good standards in terms of their certification. Now, your small businesses. I think you got Mr. Daryl Rolle. He will tell you, anybody will tell you, nobody in the city, I've been on the commission going into my 7th year this year, has given ACD more hard of a time than myself about not doing business with with small businesses, not trying to revamp the way they do business. Now, they have some leeway, they don't have as much leeway as you like because there are federal standards that's tied to it. But I still think they can be more open-handed in terms of how to do business with small businesses. And we're working on that constantly to try to make that happen. Just recently, when they revamped the program they had it gone through 2 boards. I made a motion to move one of those boards away to try to expedite that process. That passed. Some of these commissioners right here, they voted for that to try to expedite that process. We've done what we could. Now, can we do more? Absolutely. But we're getting the ear for the night to see what you all think versus what actually happened. I don't hit the nail on the head, but here's another problem. Obviously, when you're talking about who voted for, who voted against it. Yeah. We probably know who did and who did not. But here's what I want to say to you. If you as an entity, small business persons who want to look at the government, and not just for a financial person, because you want to see also you're contributing back to the tax base of the city with your business. You should have a political arm to know who voted for it or know what issues are going on in your city. You can't afford not to. Before I became a commissioner since 2006, I became commissioner 2014. I went to commission meetings, commission and committee meetings, then most of the commission for 8 years before I became an elected official. So I'm saying as an organization, you should have 2 or 3 people who are following that process for your interests. And you should also have a person who is going and speaking to that board mention your name. Daryl made mention of to try to see how those qualified points and things that you need so you can get the resources. So those are the issues that you can take on to try to simplify the process and you can get support that you need. See, we don't have any issues at this time. Our first part is trying to make sure this is stay afloat, but we don't know what your needs are until you bring them to us. So you assume that we already know, and that's not the case. I'm a small business person. I know what it looks like. I'm 6, 7 years old. I've never had a job over 18 months. So I know what it's like to struggle as a small business person. But I also know it is important I get my facts straight too. Because can we do more? I'm saying it now. Can you do more? Absolutely.
There was a questionnaire and we set that information about what we need on these. I don't know. Did anybody else get that?
What's your question?
There was a questionnaire about what your needs were as a business.
There was a questionnaire. The entity, I'm saying, but the board that Daryl sits on was the entity that dispersed that. And if those board, let me say this here for the record, excuse me. If those restrictions is still too restrictive, we have to look at them again and try to see how can we simplify them. Because one of the things that when we started with this, it's just like when we came on board in 2017. I'm sorry. Just like we started in 2017, we had employees who working for the city of Augusta was making as little as $17,000 a year trying to raise a family. But at this particular time, we're still not in a great place, but since this time, they're up to about $23,500. That's the lowest employees you got. So the same thing, we talk about small business. The first thing that came to mind was a barber shop, beauty shop, and those things of those nature. These things are important to all of us. They're not, but we have to feel your pain as we're feeling it tonight for the first time. To hear what you're saying, take it back to that board. Somebody be a spokesperson to speak to that board about some of these restrictions. But you go line by line those things and see what restrictions can be modified. So what are some of them from the board itself, ACD, the local government, and you try to look at what the Fed is saying. And if you can find a medium in between that, we make the necessary modifications to expedite the process. I think it's going to be about it's still $1 million there, $500,000 or $600,000 for adjustment there. So that means the process is still slow. It's not working. I agree. Because we still got that kind of money, that means that the money is not doing it needs to be in our hands. But we can know what challenges you have.
Okay, I'm gonna let Mr. Mullins talk and then Commissioner Johnson wrap up. We do have somebody waiting to speak. So let us speak and we're gonna go ahead.
Okay, just really quickly, this is another elephant in the room. I'm looking at the circle now, and I don't see 1, 2 women in songs that are in here. 3, excuse me, I'm sorry. 4. Now, this is a male-led society, and I think that is a problem now because whatever we have going on in this city, what are we doing to fix the Black leadership when it comes to Black female businesses or female businesses in general? Because this is pretty sad to only have a couple women sitting here. It should be at least 50-50. Are we offering anything to Black women, to help propel their business or what?
I'll say this. First of all, I want to echo Commissioner in saying that these types of settings is really how things get done. As somebody who's only in their 34 day in office, this is important because I don't know, like Commissioner Saad says, I don't know what you need to mention to me. Before I got sworn in, I made an admission to meet with as many business owners as I could, especially some of the ones that are on the record closing. They kind of gave me an idea of what they were dealing with, and it's very much so similar to what a lot of you are saying here tonight. Because I get your frustration. I mean, if you hang on the wall, nobody answers the door. If you bang on the door, nobody answers the door. You have every right to get upset. You have every right to be mad. But I want to also share with you that if you come before the commission to get a 5-minute delegation to share something that you have 9 times out of 10, some commissioner is going to call you, is going to message you, is going to get what you have to do, and try to figure out how to push the ball forward. We see that happen early in the mission. So my whole point is that we need to continue to each time to do it, so we can come out and hear the progress. So not only do we get whether or not it's compliant to some of these support items, we can get a follow-up and make sure this is the process is right, so that we can go back and do some revamp. We have no problem taking out some problems, certain items, and revamping them to make it work. But the idea is that we've got to know what the problem is. And I tell you, for me right now, being here tonight is very refreshing because I know some of you personally, but I didn't know some of the concerns that you were dealing with. Now that is where progress and stagnation differentiates itself. What we know what's going on. And I reached out to many of you in here about this. So with that being said, I want to give it's in my contact information to anybody who wants to be picking out. I can give it to you after this meeting. But I want to make sure that if you have something going on and you can't reach one commission, you can get somebody else. But the idea that nobody's listening, I want us to leave tonight knowing that. So somebody said that Commissioner Clarke said 6 will be here. It's 6 of us here tonight. So at that point, I want to know that somebody's listening to you. I'm not sure what's not here about what you're doing. And it's not just tongue in cheek. We really are concerned because when you're getting emails like we get from businesses saying they're closing, or businesses that have been downtown for decades and now they can't get their closing, that bothers me. I can't speak to any of my colleagues, but I'm sure it does bother them as much as it bothers me. So that being said, I want to make sure that you understand that I will talk to you. I'll do whatever it takes. And then we can come together and have a conversation to see how to make this work better. But I'll leave with this. Before I was sworn in the office, I sat with pretty much every group or auxiliary that you could think of, and they had specific asks of me. They had specific requests. They had laid out plans, 10-year plans, 5-year plans, how much to help the whole time. They were very intentional on what they asked for. And what I want to share before I ask my background is don't ever get to the point where you're afraid to ask for something. Because somebody or some other is asking and they're not shocked. So speak up, so you feel, on how you feel. Speak up about how you feel, what's going on, speak the truth, and then you ask. Nobody's having folks to ask them questions. So let's ask, let's make sure that our intentions are made known so that we can make some progress. Right? Now that's my
Okay, we have someone waiting in the wings, so they get ready to come on real quick and we'll start the conversation again. Mr. Neal is the former president of the Congress, the founding former president. He also is on the Atlanta Black Chamber Foundation Board. He is instrumental in being the regular Black Chamber of Congress. Where is that? So he's going to join us right now from Atlanta. He's going to down. He's not make it. So we're going to get him in as our tech guy. let's come into the room, and then Mr. Neal, I'm going to give you the floor, CEO of the organization.
I'm getting a kind of a fuzzy connection, so Rodney, let me know when I'm breaking up, because can you hear me clearly? Mic check 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm gonna talk because I can't hear it now. I don't hear any sound. So if y'all can just raise your hand if y'all can hear me. So I'll just start talking. So if you guys can hear me, just raise your hand. I'm assuming I can't be heard. So Rodney, you can hear me? I'll tell you what. So I can see the brother right there in the chair with the mask. Can you raise your hand if you can hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? I have no clue. Okay. All right. So how's everybody doing this evening? Thank you, Rodney, for inviting me this evening. I bring you guys greetings on behalf of the Atlanta Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yes. Thank you, Rodney, for having this wonderful event this evening. So I've been watching the event for the last hour, getting a good feel for the business owners, and I'll take any questions that you guys have. I'd like to thank the Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce for having this event. Black chambers are very essential for the growth and development within our community. And I heard one of the appreciations was that education and training. So a lot of people don't realize in the 80s, a lot of technical assistance in terms of programs and how to access programs were cut out. So the need for organizations such as this is very, very valuable. Rodney reached out to me a couple of months ago, and we were discussing access to capital, particularly during the pandemic. We knew that African-American businesses would be adversely impacted, just like they were in 2009. In 2009, a lot of people don't know the statistic in terms of when the Obama administration actually put together the stimulus relief packages, less than 1% of that money actually reached African-American owned businesses. Less than 1% reached African-American owned businesses. And our fear was that we was going to see the exact same thing to occur during the pandemic, and we did. Fortunately, we were invited to participate in a program in Athens, Georgia, which we were able to do a grant program using the CARES Act dollars. And what the Athens City Council did in a very, very creative way was that they okay, we're going to do something different. We're going to give monies to organizations that are truly doing impact within the community at the grassroots. Successfully distribute
were able to get it done in the city, being innovative, being innovative, is that we impacted those 130 businesses and distributed about $500 million out into those businesses. Those businesses are very grateful. It created a tax base that the city was not actually able to get because many of the businesses weren't even registered with the city. So we had we also provided those businesses with payment for assistance, and those businesses are smaller businesses as a result. Those businesses will receive $3 now are in a position where they can qualify for the PPP and the PPL. And just give you guys an insight of where we are today, because we learned so much from that program. We just recently, as a national organization, U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce, Black Chamber, met with the Biden administration. We had a personal conversation with Vice President Harris and Janet Young. And what came out of that conversation, they made a commitment to Black business. I'm really excited about that.
This took place on Friday. I contacted our national organization because we had some, of course, specific questions that we had to ask. I said, okay, so what are next steps? Because
presenting a plan of action and saying this is what our community needs based on forms like this. How do you tell a community or how do you tell businesses and structure policies and procedures when you don't even listen or get them to a conversation? And that is all that happens. So we have to do things innovative. We have to do things creative. You know, that with the CARES Act dollars, that about 75 chambers throughout the state of Georgia are able to use CARES Act dollars to create lending programs. That's right. So I always question what did they do differently that we did not understand to get out of that house. What we did differently was we have a individual accountable. We have an individual opportunity and how can be facilitated. And then at the same time, the elected officials have to be willing and open to hear new ideas and innovative approaches. So what we are going to do moving forward as a Black Chamber entity is that we are working now directly with the White House. And we are looking at, as they are in the state of market of legislation, we are getting input in terms of what needs to happen at the federal dollars. There are creative ways to use federal dollars, but many of the cities must have wheels, and they must have creative ways in terms of how they allocate those dollars. So the commitment that we're making to our that we have to do. We are launching a study throughout the state of Georgia to look at Black impact in how Black businesses have been affected. And one of the things that we noticed in our survey and ask was that many of the businesses did not so we should not take that type of threshold to work with you guys at the job. We were able to do it in Athens. We are currently doing it in the city of Albany, and we hope that I hope to do it in my hometown of Georgia. So I know that we will be going back before the commission. I believe I need to want to make a statement on the 16th. To reannounce our committee in terms of fully targeting businesses in the greater Richmond County area to make sure that they receive dollars. So what we're asking our commission is to be innovative, to be open, to do things in an innovative way, so we can really make a difference. What we give back to the community is that we will discover and identify businesses that don't have a formal relationship with the city, and all we're doing is asking our commission to give other organizations an opportunity to disperse funds in an innovative and a creative way that does not have a whole limitation. And the way we did everything that they asked for in terms of making sure that the businesses had that kind of registered created the funding on the back, and that's how we made impact. So we're looking forward to working with you guys at a local level. But for my business owners, you guys, that $1.9 trillion that's coming down the pipeline, $50 billion is going towards small business. And it's coming straight to cities and municipalities. It's going to go into different agencies, different industries. Each one of your industries, whether it's training, whether it's child care, whether it's future fund, there's an item for you. You want nothing is that restricted. If you don't like the rules, and that's what's been going on. Whenever they come out, certain legislation and requirements. When it comes to the state adds additional requirements on it. When it comes to the county adds additional requirements on it. When it gets to the city, y'all got all those extra requirements that's been put on it, but we had no input on it. But I will say this, that we have input. And we look forward to working with the Augusta County Commission. But we will be coming, we will be presenting ideas and innovations, but you guys, we gotta write the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Thank you, Mr. Hill. I'll let you go get the conversation started, and I will
The rules change.
So we're gonna get the conversation started again. I know Mr. Rolle was gonna go next, but just so you guys know, as a chamber, we have been lobbying with Mr. Hill and the group, which is Northeast Georgia Business Alliance, Youth Black Chamber of Commerce, also in Albany, some other jurisdictions as well, and Black Chamber of Commerce. But in the fact, the chamber has been lobbying since August, talking to commissioners, having meetings, meeting with the department, the community department, and we developed a whole program that traced the federal to the state to the local. We did exactly what Commissioner Stein had did. And that's kind of what people were mentioning, what happened to that program. So we as an organization have already been doing our due diligence on that. And as you can see, we are ahead of the game of tracing the federal dollars at this point, because we do want to make sure as an organization, we get multiple programs running in this community. Because Augusta, Georgia is the second largest city in Georgia. Athens should not have 4 or 5 small business programs running, and Augusta not. So we gotta fix that. That does not make sense. It's keeping people from having access to capital. We have to be able to write the rules. The rules are following the federal guidelines. We ran it in Athens, so we should be able to run it in Augusta. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to Ms. Blair.
As the second chocolate city.
So there has been a lot of different things that have been discussed tonight, especially when it comes to the funding from the city. I had the privilege and have the privilege of being able to sit on the committee that actually screened a lot of the applications for the CARES Act dollars that came through federal government by way of course, the city. And so with my experience in doing that, I have to say that one of the first things that I did from my standpoint was I talked to my colleagues, my fellow business owners, to find out, okay, what is it that we actually want, going to the table when it comes to these dollars. And I'm going to be honest with you, and it's been said a couple of times now, a lot of these barriers to entry or the boundaries that was put on these dollars came from the federal government. Right, so what happened is by the time it comes down locally, right, there's not really much to peel back when it comes to boundaries. Now, initially when I got involved with the process, there were some things that could be changed, and there were some things that we asked to peel back. But for information value tonight, to all of my business owners in this room, please know that you have to be engaged. You have to be involved in the process. Because when we are on a committee that oversees the process, right, we need the support in making sure that your voice is heard, right? When you're grumbling and complaining in silence, and we're not coming and utilizing vehicles like the Black Chamber, right, to be able to make sure that our voices are collectively heard, you still don't get heard, all right? So my thing right now is about solutions. So the first thing is, let's make sure that we find the avenues that we need to make sure that our voices are heard and we're being impactful, right? Black Chamber. Brother, you talk about, other merchant associations and things. Right, exactly. Right. And so we actually have one for one down in on Lane Walker, right? It's small, but they're getting it together, right? But those are the things that need to happen in order to be heard. The other thing that I want to say in terms of solutions is also when it comes to the type of funding that is available, there's more than one way to skin a cat, all right? And I'm a firm believer in controlling what you can, okay? So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, so when the city or when the state or the federal government tells you, hey, we got these dollars for you, but you have to operate within inside the boundaries, it takes the outside groups to be able to bring solutions and say, hey, well, you know what? We need to find more access to venture capitalists, right? Because there's plenty of Black venture capitalists out here with plenty of dollars that want to put in plenty of Black businesses, all right? But you can't do it in a fragmented manner, right? You can't do it operating in silos. That's not how it works, right? Again, going back to the point of leveraging the Black Chamber as a vehicle, merchant associations as a vehicle, to make sure that you're heard and you are saying, hey, you know what? If the city says that we're only able to get this amount of funding and be able to do this, but then guess what? We got these VCs over here that will help us put together a program that will not only help out with startups, but also help out businesses that's been in business for years, so that as they grow and get ready to go to the next level, we can all have. But we just have to make sure that we're leveraging the right vehicles and making sure that the communication is there so we're being heard, right? So, so again, when it comes to these solutions, we have options. We just need to make sure that we're leveraging the right vehicles.
Thank you. I just like to give everyone a link for the opportunity for the commission to come in. I think it was in December when Commissioner McKnight and Commissioner Johnson and I met with Ms. West and we talked about what we can do. And she said, well, maybe I could get some of the business owners to come in, small business owners to come in and talk to the three of us. And then I talked to Ms. West 2 weeks after that, and I said, why don't you invite all of the commissioners and let's just start a dialogue. And so I'm so happy that she organized this tonight, and we have gotten some information that we can talk about and discuss. And as Commissioner Johnson said, early on when we first got elected, people came to us, organizations came to us, and they had specific asks. I told Commissioner Johnson, I said, they're so fair, dressed in what they want, but they came with an act and had a way that they could navigate the system. So I'm just excited that the dialogue has started, and I don't want this to stop. And I'm not gonna say the commissioner did this or the commissioner did that, and it takes 6 votes. It takes communication on what you want and how you're gonna get it done. I know one of the first things that I thought we need to do, we need technical assistance to small business owners who do not know how to navigate the system. And if there's someone there that knows that and has done it before, reach down and pick that person up that don't know know how to do it, but don't have the means to do it. So I'm excited. Thank you again, Chamber, for having us. And I know this won't be the last time we get together. And of course, Ms. West know how to get in touch with me. I have some business cards that I can use, and it's sure just reach out. Because if you don't ask, you're not going to get it, so why not ask for it? And I did see something that I don't care that last time came was in Atlanta, the Senator Oscar, Columbus, Savannah, and Augusta, money come directly to the city. So that's gonna cut out some of the layers of funding. So we just have to make sure we're engaged. I don't know how much what it's gonna take to bring some more sisters to the table. I think you were saying it's only 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. What can we do to bring some more women to the table? And that's something that as a chamber or as an organization, a merchant organization that you said, brother, that's gonna come about, we just have to make sure there's somebody that has an idea. We need to make sure we tell them that, you know, if you want to go for it, and let us show you how to do it. Thank you so very much.
We're talking about citizen.
Yes. So I'm about actually, I love what Daryl what said, take that to mind under the rule, be doing about that soon, okay? How many of you have been to Humana Treehouse before? Raise your hand. Beautiful. Beautiful. You have to let your ladies know that they don't have to wait for study meeting to come downtown Augusta to sell their food out of their trucks. That's one of the problems we have in our city. We're talking about local businesses, but we're also talking about the pain of the leadership who promotes outside businesses to come in to do their work downtown. So I'm just encouraging all of you to, let me just give you an idea of what we've done here. In terms of revamping, this is a vegan establishment. We're open from 9 to 4 o'clock, Tuesday through Saturday. We make our own juice, we make our own food. We have 5 employees going on 6. We have 2 shops, one on Walker and some grab go. We had to revamp the brand, let's just say we have to rebrand, because there is a struggle before. And to all here represent Black merchants. There is an NGO vibration of this community that not $1 can enjoy. And that's really the spirit of this 74 community. And I'm hoping that out of this situation comes a reuniting of minds, and reuniting of businesses, a reuniting of communities. We had to, we lost money, we lost a lot. But in this space, in this particular space, it has been blessed. It has been blessed with customers that see our necessity in the city. So in terms of renting out the space, we had certain conditions in terms of food. Now we changed that. So those of you that want to rent the spot, you can bring your chicken and you can bring your fish. For rental. Then there is a fee if you don't want to bring any food and you want us to cater and give you some goodness. I support studying vegan because I was very quiet on Facebook. I watched and saw a lot of people defend us, okay? Then I saw a lot of guilty conscience on Facebook as well. So you get a regular tone on Facebook. It only appears certain. It only appears a certain way. So my wife, just to give you the story, my wife is more tempered than I am. She's not wired like I am. That's why we balance each other. But the day that Spring Meeting came here, there was a lot of people on that line. Downtown Augusta. The education and the information that Spring Meeting does not have is right here. It's right here. You don't do mock food. That's what she sells. You don't do Impossible Burgers unless the customers ask for it and they need that taste. Okay? But around the corner, right here on the street. So one of the issues that I have is the education and education based on valuing each other as a business. And when you think about it, it goes beyond black. It really does. It goes to livability. You have a company that shut down, which is Beasley's. Been in business for a long time. Didn't get nothing either. So I'm just encouraging us to really start regulating and self-interrogating what Augusta is all about in terms of community. Because there's a certain elephant or gorilla or a couple of animals in here that we don't confront because fear of maybe losing something. I'm not from here. I got nothing to lose. Okay? I have nothing to lose. I'm from another planet that God's created for me. So I have nothing to lose. What I want to encourage you to do is support each other as a business. I'm going around to get business cards as well. An area right here where you can put a business card for all customers, so we make that available to you. If you have an artist that wants to hang their work, I make that available to them as well. So I thank baby, sister, you work hard. You really, really do. I remember when we first started. We were there, encouraging you. Please give this sister a round of applause because this is not easy. This is not easy. And it's not easy being back on a business either. Okay? Especially in Augusta. And if you're from Augusta, you know, in New York they say, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That man was drunk when he wrote those lines. He really was. Church Knox was drunk because he didn't know about Augusta. If you can make it in Augusta, you can make it anywhere. And that's not a diss. That's an encouragement. So I thank you, Willie.
Just a few quick things. Number one, I heard the interview, and these are the things like what he's saying. So I didn't know y'all catered. I had no idea that y'all catered. So just now. So AAU, our MBA program lady just asked for local businesses that catered. She will be getting your name tomorrow. That's how we help each other. Another thing, if all the Greater Augusta Black Chamber members can just add one member, that will help the Greater Augusta. Just tell one other business owner, and this is the thing, it doesn't have to be a Black-owned business. It can be anyone. Bring them to the chamber. Remember, the other thing I was going to say, and that's how we support each other. We just have to start telling people. I noticed that too with Augusta. When things come outside, we celebrate it. One of my friends who's not from here, she said, that's the way for people die to celebrate. And I was like, okay. I said, we'll work on that. But I think I was listening to you. You said something that kind of triggered, I don't say triggered, but just made me think of something. Sometimes people don't speak up. And like I said, I'm not a bashing person. I don't like to bash. Sometimes people don't speak up and say what's on their mind because they don't trust the person they're talking to. So I think what it needs to go back to, we need to be as a community, with our commissioners, with just as a whole, trust needs to be there. For some reason, the business owners think there doesn't. Have you ever seen the meme that said, leaders watch when you're most valuable, people stop talking, that's a problem? So when people are saying, you know, that's the way, that's always do things, this city's not changing, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. So we need to work together as a community. The commissioners were not bashing to secure us. Some people just don't think there's not going to be any, they just think there's not going to be any change, so why even say anything? Now, I do go totally back on the business officer that if no one advocates for you, advocate for yourself. You have to be informed, you have to know what's going on. It takes a collective effort as a community. Last thing I was going to say is, I think one thing, like I've been following the chamber for a while, and I was going to say action, action, action. The program that the chamber and Raheem has been lobbying for, what does it take to get that funding? There's not many things that are needed. What's the, I guess I'm always like, okay, how are we going to do it? What's the next step? So, no, not that one. Not that, it's another program we lobby. Okay, so that's but I will say, sometimes it's a lack of trust. When you say that you're an organization, I've been in the outside. I've seen a lot. I'm here to be very respectful. I will say that sometimes there's a lack of trust because people know I'm concerned. I've seen it in my 30, almost 30 it is I've been there for 30 years because I've seen it. So we need to put a job of walking out of the day, so trust to be there. And so we can't have you're not going to take this work with your organization. You're not going to go the easy way if you don't trust.
Yeah, we do have commissioners all the time, and
Before the commissioners get to ask this question, you got to hear that. If they say no again, whatever, what happens? Yes. Okay, that's well, first of all, I don't do too much harm because at the time, one of the things I like to do is about the scale program, trying to get the community and the program to the business done very good all the time. We have to always have the best amount of support as we should have. And, when it first came out, it was presented to the old professionals, old pastors, and it wasn't received very well. The only person I know that voted for it, I can remember myself. We just wanted, and I say we because I don't remember the we just want to give the change and the money. But that was the first. Once it came out, it just from a board that would just make money. It went to one office to another office, to the mayor's office, to form a committee to put the whole thing together. This Westport trying to get by itself. So it's not, with commissioners, we don't have the, we're not there. That's the first thing we have to understand. We're not there 8 hours a day.
But you got the vote. You got the vote.
We're not there a whole 8 hours a day.
That's what we're going to continue to tell you. That's what we're going to continue to do.
So that's one thing that we have to take under consideration also. Now, in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years,
things have improved quite a bit. But a lot of times with the commissioner, even coming to functions like this, a lot of times you don't really know what the public wants because the public don't really tell you. I spend 90% of my time about old ragged houses that need to be torn down, trees need to be cut, and grass that needs to be cut, and doing things that are a little more to the community. People will raise hell about you didn't cut my grass, blah, 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 blah. But we could go out there as a commission and spend $500,000 on rates, and they wouldn't have no problem with it. As long as they get their feet up down and they lock them. So we're doing a whole lot. Our commission in the years that I've been around Augusta is getting better. Not 100% yet, because anybody can run. And we voted for anybody. So I tell people, be selective of who you vote. We have a good opportunity. I have a good chamber here in West. I've been on her for a while. And we just need to support her and be more vocal down in the chamber.
This night, will be the last time from a business owner, and then we're gonna give the floor to Mr. Johnson, and then I'll close out. I just want to address when you were talking about women. A lot of the women are now at home. A lot of them have folded because they don't have no one to keep their children, so they have to quarantine every other week. So a lot of the women are at home. A lot of them don't know the steps in doing it the right way or doing it in the way that I can receive this funding, or just like my sister said, no trust. Because of the fact that I tried to talk to Mr. Rolle, and Mr. Rolle didn't do right by me. And so a lot of the women are in bad spaces right now. They have had businesses, but they're just falling by the wayside. Their rent is too high. They can't afford it anymore. They have other jobs that they're trying to take on just to pay their rent to keep their business open. Landlords are really not working with business owners. They want their rent, and they want it now. And so that's just to come from a woman's point. A lot of us don't have small children at home, so we can continue to run our business. I know Ms. Carr, I know myself. I don't have, all of our children are grown, so we don't have to worry about that. So we can fill in those gaps in our business. Now, having them to come to different meetings. If you're on your job and you don't have an employee, or you have to fill in because somebody is quarantining every week now, you don't have that manpower to go to the commissioners meetings or to kind of get involved as we are supposed to. So why not commissioners build a relationship with the business owners? I know we talked about community. I commend you, Jordan, been knowing you since you were. I commend you. I saw you out on the street, and I have a business coming to your district, and I'm pleased with that because I've been on Buffalo Road 22 years, and I want somebody to come and check on me. I would love for my commission to come and check on me. Sometimes it's not about the dollar.
I know that's right.
It's not about the dollar. But if we're all in this together, and we're all small businesses, just coming to say, I'm just coming to encourage you. I see you're still open. I had somebody to come by because they didn't see any parked cars in the front yard, but all the cars were in the back. Okay? So they didn't see anybody in the front. They thought our program was closed. But our city has to also, it comes to relationships. If I have a relationship with my commissioners, because these are the ones who are in authority. If I have that relationship and I don't receive that CARES Act money or this other money, just to know
that they got my back and they're not gonna forget about McKnight over here on Bungalow Road. They're not gonna forget about that. So I encourage the commissioners to build relationships with small businesses, especially our women. Because the women who are in small businesses, who are single mothers, and they have lost their business, those children are going laughing. Because they're not receiving the love and the nurturing from the centers like they used to. We are the only ones who used to give them all of that, and I can't love little Johnny like I used to love little Johnny. And he's going home, mother doesn't have that business anymore. I don't know what it feels like to work on someone else's job and have to punch in at 9 to 5 and work on the weekend. So my encouragement to everyone else, I've been through my pandemic, so I didn't have anything to say about fun. My pandemic hit my business in 2009 and 2010. So right now, I'm not standing in a pandemic, but I am in this with everybody else because my other child care providers are closing up. And that hurts because I can't keep all the children. That hurts. And so I ask everybody, just hold on because it's gonna go away soon. It has to go away soon. But if you're a business owner and that was your dream, don't let the pandemic take your dream away from you. Just hold on. If you don't want to have, if the city doesn't have a relationship with you, have a relationship with yourself. And I just encourage each and every one of my business owners, my sisters, my brothers, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to say that you are, if you are a business owner and entrepreneur, don't give up on your dreams. Because I thought I was going to have to give up on mine. But because God ordained me to do what I do, and it is my passion, the pandemic won't even stop there.
Big shout out to you, Ms. Knight, because like you said, I've watched you really matriculate through business. And what I want to say tonight, this is my very last comment. Number one, I can't wait to vote for this program that's coming before the commission. I have no shame in saying that I will vote in favor of it. As a matter of fact, last time the program went down, Ms. West called me. She and I had a conversation, not just one, but multiple conversations. I love the way that the program was written out. And you know what? The program looks very familiar right now. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. We're not seeing her name on it. I want to see it happen, so I can't wait to vote for it. Let me say that first of all. The second thing I want to say is that I'm a policy kind of person. I believe that there's not much that you can address through policy, good policy. The reason why you have so much craziness going on, we just talked about the federal government putting on certain parameters that keep businesses away from having certain funds. That's a policy. We have to have fine policy in place. One policy that I was always up for is something that other cities were able to do, most notably Atlanta. Set aside programs for African-American businesses, especially businesses owned by women, businesses owned by other minority groups. I mean, how can we even get ourselves to being fair in this city? We're talking about fairness. We're talking about equity. We're talking about being able to be on the same playing field when you're coming before one board at a disadvantage just because of where you live, or just because of how you look, or just because of what your bank account looks like. I think that's a crime. So we can do certain things in this city where set-asides are concerned. Some folks say, oh, that's illegal. There's ways that we can make sure that African-American owned businesses, businesses owned by women, businesses owned by other minority groups have a fair share at the top, just like everybody else does. I mean, if our congressman can build half of the city, certainly some of our African-American businesses can get a piece of the pie as well. I'm not ashamed to say it. But we have to have a mindset that we're going to focus on policy. We can't just be talking all the time. You know, my mom used to tell me, the person who talked the most in the room is usually the one you got to watch out for. You got to make sure that when you open your mouth that you know what you're talking about and that you have a plan of action. And I'm telling you something, the commission is not what it's perceived to be in the media. Since I've been on the commission, we haven't broke out into a fight yet. I mean, I haven't slapped Commissioner Clarke. He hadn't threatened me, so I think we're doing pretty good. Now, I can't speak for how we're going to go on for the next year, but we're doing pretty good so far. So this idea that we don't work together is a fabrication. We come together, we talk quite often, we have lunch quite often, no kickbacks, no backroom door deals. This meeting came about because we told our president, we want to hear from you. And we want to continue to hear from you. But think about some policies. I just hear, every time I hear us speak tonight, it's just making me think of we shall overcome someday. That really bothers me. I told myself on MLK Day, I will never say we shall overcome again. Because when is someday, I think that we have a prime opportunity right here, right now, to put in black and white what we want as a community. Like Commissioner Scott said, everybody else did it. That just because they came to us don't mean that we gave them what they wanted. But at the end of the day, the squeaky wheel gets the wheel. And I want to encourage everybody, don't give up, like McKnight said. But think about policy. Think about some things that this city can enact that will stand long after all of us have gone, our businesses have turned into Fortune 500. What policies can we drive that will make us all competitive where business is concerned? If we don't address this from a policy perspective, it'll never be addressed. So again, you have my support on the item. I want to make sure that everyone understands, of course, like how do we move forward? And this is probably the biggest aspect. Us coming together talking, no matter how harsh the conversation is, we've got to have the conversation. So I'm gonna say it again, you have my support. I hope my colleagues will support you as well. But at the end of the day, we need to be looking at policy that's really gonna put us ahead. Because we talk about other cities that have done these things, Athens, Albany, all these other cities, what they have that differs from Augusta is policy on the book that understands what we're trying to achieve. They enacted the policy decades ago. We have not yet done that. So that's my 2 cents. Again, I would love to give all of you my contact information. There's like 4 of you that I won't meet with. And so I hope that we can be of some real assistance in the near future. I said there's not many of you that I won't meet with, but the Cowboys mask is really throwing me off. So I don't know about that. Maybe if we have on a different color, we'll be good.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson,
For that.
So it's now 8 o'clock. I know the time is really fast. Closing remarks, and then just kind of let you guys know when Chamber has coming up, I have to do my due diligence as the president. And then of course, thank everybody, because I really do appreciate your support. So just so you guys know, George did talk about, Commissioner Johnson did talk about policy. And that's what I learned how to write this policy this year as your chamber president. We want to make sure we are lobbying as a chamber efficiently and effectively, so we have been tracing the dollars. We have learned, or I have learned, and the leaders will learn, and we've had help from Atlanta, Black Chamber Congressman Neal, and everybody has been getting behind the Black Chamber here in Augusta because they really want to make some initiatives in policy done. So resolutions and everything else, we have been doing that since August, just in case you know if anybody is not aware of that. And we will continue to do that. Now, the Biden administration has actually, the federal dollars, they have some of the money going to be targeted for the Black business community. We hope that we're able to work with the city and the Greater Augusta Black Chamber Conference to get those policies and funds distributed and bring up those programs. And we're going to collaborate with the city to get that done. So we are really tracing this policy as it is being written. I just got that update, guys. So the other thing I want to let you guys know what we have coming up. Now, I really want you guys to spread the word about this. Everybody can talk about how to do business with the government. We have GDOT actually presenting with the chamber on February 18th at 11 a.m. and will be live on Facebook. They will be sending out all the resources of how you can get your veteran-owned business, your woman-owned certification, everything that you need to do to start doing business with the government. If you do not want to miss that live, all our lives get repurposed on our YouTube channel, so even if you miss it, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it. Also on February 22nd, we will have our Business and Economic Roundtable, which will be our annual event that we hold every year. That will be fully virtual. So you will hear from business owners that are somewhere in this room. They'll be on the panel, and then you will hear from our host, Donna Leslie, and so forth. Also, we have our 8:30 conference call starting again. So we really want to engage the community in Augusta. Even if you're a member or a non-member, our chamber is here to serve the community. I will stress that again. Our chamber is here to serve the community. We're not just focused on members. We are focused on the community at large. That's really what separates us from the other chambers, and that is our purpose, and that is our mission. statement. We also are going to kind of brand ourselves as the voice of Black business. So you'll start seeing a lot more coming from us as we have added new leaders to the chamber, and other things that are coming. And I want to announce the theme for 2021 with our leadership retreat. They just voted on. It is doing business in a virtual world. So you want to engage with the chamber, especially if you want to know how to streamline your business for this virtual world. Now, next, I want to go ahead and make sure I thank everybody. And don't forget, so guys, give me a moment. Let me pull up my list, because some people have left, and I do not want to miss anybody. I want to thank Commissioner Dennis Williams, Commissioner Francine Scott, Commissioner John Clarke, Commissioner Jordan Johnson, and Commissioner Catherine McKnight. I want to definitely give a shout out to the commissioners that are on the stage, because they actually asked to make sure that this event happened. So that was something that came out of our meeting when we welcomed them as a chamber to the commission board, and they were like, we were one of the organizations that had an ask that was Black. We were like one of the first organizations that really asked for something, and that is our program, which we have other policies and programs we want to present too, but we want to get this first program funded to go ahead and move forward with the other ones before we present any more. Also, I want to thank all the business owners that are in the room. So I'm gonna start with Mr. Vince. I just met you. I actually was patroning his business, and I was like, I can't even go sleep. And that's really how this all happened. So I thank you for showing up, and I look forward to you being a member of the chamber soon. Mr. Price, thank you for coming out. Ms. Knight, of course, Mr. Mullins, Stacy, Robert, Latasha, who's always keeps me together, guys. She has a big job. Mr. Beasley, thank you. Mr. Rolle, thank you as well. Commissioner Clarke, thank you for all your support and giving us support on the first program. We really do appreciate you. I look forward to presenting again to the commission next week. We look forward to doing some things with the city of Augusta. Tara, thank you so much for coming out. Tara. Tara, I want to pronounce it correctly because I know how that can be. Yes. And then Commissioner Williams, thank you so much for your support. Like you said, we have been working together for a long time to work to get things done for the city. So I just want to make sure that, we just continue that relationship as well. I want to make sure Mr. Neely from Studio Bar and Grill, he has left out. So I want to say thank you to him. And then, of course, Mr. Baruti, thank you for, of course, your comments, and always, I'm always talking to you and Denise to do whatever I can to support Humanity Treehouse. And then everybody shout out Mr. Cherry, our man for the evening. When I asked him to put this all together, we talked about it, and I was like, can this be done? Our first hybrid event. He was like, yeah, I get it. I said, are you sure I want a TV? I want this, I want that. Thank you for taking what was in my head and putting it into reality and making it all come together. So I really do appreciate the leaders that are on the chamber. And we just continue to look forward to doing more in the city of Augusta. You can engage with us at www.mygabc.org. We do have monthly membership now, so be sure to join the chamber. We can only do more as we get more resources in to do for the community. Now, the program is not giving the money to the chamber. Literally, we want to fund the program to give the money to the community. That's right. So I just want to make sure we correct that statement that was kind of made. It's really to get money out to the community. We just came up with an effective way to do it, and we want to be able to do that. Of course, some technical assistance dollars, which Francine Scott had mentioned, would be part of that because we're talking about equity for our Black businesses and our Black organizations, our Black nonprofits, which includes the Black Chamber. If you guys don't know that a lot of Black nonprofits, we usually get the smaller checks. We normally only get about 10K if we can get that at all, if anything at all. That still goes for the chamber as well. So we're still working to get our operational budget up. We're fighting the same thing you are. That's why we are very passionate and we understand what you are going through because we are also dealing with it ourselves. So we look forward to continue our mission and continue to lobby for the city. And I thank you guys for your time tonight. And thank you for all the Facebook viewers. Make sure you share this out. Thank you guys.
Oh boy, Francine, you all right? It's stuck you, didn't it? You want the braces put on? You don't want to keep one just sit down?